Alright, this league's a big one, not so much in mechanics but in core changes. 3.25 Settlers of Kalguur's new mechanic is similar to a city builder / idle game. As such, it's one of those systems that builds upon itself. A brief overview: you'll find materials in maps. Kill the monsters around the materials. All monsters drop gold. You use the gold to pay workers. These workers harvest the materials. These materials and gold is used to upgrade and grow your town. Alright, let's start with the workers. Workers are hired at the tavern. They have specialties to match the jobs you're assigning them to. They can be multi-specialized with different levels in each specialization. Higher levels will make them more successful or faster at their job. GGG has stated that you can queue up quite a bit of work as they didn't want people to feel the need to change their playing habits to meet the timers. Also important to note that the timers don't tick down at a different rate based on being online or offline. Now let's talk about the gold. Gold drops from all monsters, not just those around the harvestable materials. It is auto pickup and isn't tradable for reasons you'll find later. Workers' wages are paid from the town treasury that you must deposit gold in. That way they don't drain you if you're offline and you've been saving for something special. As you progress through the campaign and maps, you'll come across these raw materials as points of interest. Each is meant to feel like a different encounter, such as Crimson Iron, which is the basic kill mobs in the circle, or Orichalcum, which gives enemies a shrine buff, and upon completion you get the buff. Petrified Amber has a small tree that once interacted with you must protect from monsters. Bismuth is guarded by guaranteed magic and rare monsters, that all have an additional elemental modifier. Upon completion, all monsters in the zone are given a random elemental modifier, increasing their difficulty, but also increasing their rewards. It should be noted that other League monsters have a reduced chance to get these modifiers. Verisium was the least covered in the provided information, but functions similar to Crucible, where you must click and hold to charge it. The longer you charge, the stronger the monsters get, but also increases your rewards. As stated before, these materials can be refined like a smelter, or you can even buy farm plots for crops, or crafting stations, which will further use these materials, such as a disenchanter. Items that you put in the window will be broken down into thaumaturgical dust. The acquired amount is based on the rarity and number of mods the item has, so perfect for you to dump in those unwanted unique items. They took recombinators from Sentinel and turned them into a bench. This bench takes thaumaturgical dust to merge two items together, but unlike Sentinel League, it's strictly merging two items together, with no mutation happening. A harbor can be built for you to send off excess goods. In return, you'll receive items that you're used to, such as currency or uniques. Certain ports want certain goods and will give you a bonus if you meet these orders. Also good to note that thaumaturgical dust sent on these ships acts as a multiplier to items received. Now shipping is where you'll receive majority of your runes. These can be used in combination with thaumaturgical dust at the runesmithing station. It's here that Danik learns rune words that will apply a special enchant to your items. But before you get too excited, these enchants can only be used on certain item types. But also important to note that enchants are a modifier of their own and don't take place of your 6 mods or your implicit mods. They've even gone so far as to add a mapping device for you to have your workers run maps for you. You can queue up maps and they'll run them while you do other things. The time it takes depends on the difficulty of the map, which will also affect their ability to survive it. They only clear so much, so in the beginning it might just be worth it for you to feed them extra lower tiers until you upgraded the town and your workers can run the juicy stuff. But things can't just flow that nicely. An interruption can happen whether you're online or offline, depending on how much you've managed your risk. They've included 3 new bosses for this league. Sasan, the Bandit Lord, will take your Atlas Runners hostage. In this situation, you can abandon them and hire new workers, pay the ransom, or rescue them. If you rescue them, this sets you up for a 1 attempt boss fight that you can have party members join if you'd like. These ransom situations can also happen with Admiral Valerius, who will commandeer your ships. And the 3rd unnamed boss has the potential to happen when you find Verisium ores in your maps. I assume something similar to an Abyssal Depth situation. Now there's one last place for you to dump your gold that has the potential to go core. Faustus from Heist will be found in the tavern, and you can give him gold to respec passive points. The cost to respec increases the higher the level you are. He also has a similar Gwenin-style gambling system, and it's here that you can get rares while you're leveling to fill in slots that you need. These items have better rolls. As you level up in your town upgrades, It increases the bottom level of modifiers that can roll, so no longer are you getting 5 life when you're level 80 plus. And the biggest surprise of them all is he provides you the ability for asynchronous currency trading. You can finally list what you're willing to buy and sell at what ratios you'd like normally, but Faustus now handles it, so even if you're offline, another player can buy your stuff, and you can just pick up the goods when you get back online. There is a gold tax to use the system, which is why gold is not tradable. To make it even better, these transactions pull from your stash, so you don't have to do the stash to inventory transfer. But even that, they've made easier. By using Control right-click, you can transfer full inventories back and forth between windows, including your stash. As far as Atlas Tree goes, there are no nodes for the League mechanic on the tree. And now on to the core changes. This was a league they wanted to make melee feel good, and as such, spells have had their added damage effectiveness decreased at level 1, scaling back up to normal by level 20. Majority of the melee skills have had their flat added damage removed, and in return they've increased the added damage effectiveness percentage on them greatly. Be aware that most of these skills have also had their mana cost increased. This is taken advantage of by quality modifiers now being multiplicative, rather than additive. Defensive auras have had their values significantly decreased, hopefully to be made up for with the addition of the multiplicative quality stats also applying to armors, and the new base types added to late game. Bandit rewards in Act 2 have been changed. If you kill all 3, you only get 1 skill point, and the quest to get the golden hand through Sacred Ground is where you get the other skill point. Gladiator has been reworked, still maintaining interactions with bleed and block shenanigans. Raider has been removed, and now a new Warden class has been added specializing in interacting with elemental ailments and or tinctures that have also been brought back. Tinctures have been reworked, so now you can roll them and apply quality, but now they inflict mana burn when you activate them. Passives have been added to the skill tree to enhance your experience with them. The Rupturing node on Deadeye has been changed to Avidity, giving you more accuracy per frenzy charge, +1 to max frenzy charges, and gain a frenzy charge each second while moving. Keep in mind that this doesn't work with Flicker Strike, as you're considered stationary while using the skill. They've added a new set of retaliation skills that work like the old counterattack skills, even absorbing some of those. These skills will be able to be activated for a period of time after you've blocked. Nodes on the tree have also been added to interact with these. As far as supports go, increased duration has been changed to more duration. A support for retaliated skills and exerted attacks have been added, and that Deadeye node for Rupture has been put into a support gem. Rage has been reworked to provide more attack damage rather than attack and move speed. If you're a Rage user, I suggest taking a look through the patch notes as they've tweaked many Rage sources and items. Blight got some love this league, where they've added new anointable passives and a new prismatic oil that can only be obtained in blighted or blight ravaged maps. With adding all these new anointables, they have removed the +30 to stat notables from being anointable. Essence monsters now get toughness instead of life for each essence affecting them. Toughness makes them take less damage. Simulacrum has been reduced to 15 waves, specifically the last 15 you used to run to make them more rewarding and faster to run. A 6th map slot has been added, and can now be unlocked by doing a 10-way Maven fight. You still do need to complete a T17 to unlock your other slot. On the topic of T17s, T17 monsters have had their health and damage greatly reduced while also removing certain reward modifiers like the barrels mod. T17s can now also be modified with Vol Orbs, Chisels, and Delirium Orbs. You can now encounter random mechanics like the Affliction Woods or Sentinels in your T16 and T17 maps. These are completely random and there are no Atlas passives for them. Some quick quality of life, waypoints are now activated by walking past them. Pinnacle and Act bosses have static life bars with more bosses to be added later. Pickup range has also been increased. You no longer have to reactivate your auras and heralds after death. Div cards will now show on the Atlas, but keep in mind they've now reshuffled what cards go to what maps. Quality currencies now apply 20% quality to low-level equipment, decreasing as the item level increases. Sources of quality above 20% have been modified to give only 20%, or like Perfect Fossil, removed, but it does seem like items that aren't gems have a chance to drop with up to 30% quality. And tainted armor scraps and tainted whetstones have been made rare, and now max out at 20% quality. I do apologize if I missed anything. There was 30,000 lines in the patch notes, and I tried to only mention the things that would affect majority of players. If you have any concerns that I didn't mention here, the description will have a link to the patch notes if you want to Control F anything I didn't mention. As per usual, I'll be doing a follow-up video filling in anything missed on the mechanic and some strategies. I'll see y'all in the next one.